With us here today is Sir Michael Moritz, Chairman of Sequoia Capital in California. Sir Michael is here in Hong Kong to receive an honorary doctorate from the Hong Kong University of Science Technology. Welcome, Sir Michael. Please let us know, how do you feel about receiving this doctorate from a university in this part of the world?
I'm incredibly flattered that HKUST, for some odd, perverse reason, has chosen me from all the people that they could have chosen for this award.
Sequoia accounts for more than 20% of Nasdaq. Can you share with us, when you decide which startup companies to invest in, what are your criteria?
We're looking for people who are at the beginning of a great pursuit that they think will account for pretty much every waking moment of their foreseeable future. And with following an interest, a deeply embedded and ingrained interest that they're ready to proselytize to the world. And we're looking for people who have got great character, fortitude, tenacity, perseverance, and an indomitable spirit.
Obviously, each one of them is different. So what do you believe set apart people like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates?
Apart from their character, they happen to be in particular markets, the personal computer market for Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and the internet for Mark Zuckerberg, where they had spent their youth and formative years assembling knowledge that and a deep interest in a particular topic that the rest of the world didn't know very much about. So when the time came to germinate their ideas, they were ready and poised and able to do that. And obviously then showed their mettle as entrepreneurs, because there were lots of other people who were there at the same time but who subsequently failed, whereas these people succeeded.
So what advice do you have for our graduates who aspire to be the next great entrepreneurs like these guys?
The best advice I ever got was a set of 3 words, which is follow your instincts. By which I mean, if you've been studying something at HKUST that fascinates you enormously, and you have an idea about how you can build and create something that may be just a little bit better than what's available on the market, go and do that, and then see where it leads.
Tell us about Silicon Valley. You live in San Francisco. Many other countries in the world are hoping to repeat the success of Silicon Valley. What qualities do they need, do you think?
And people should come to China rather than to Silicon Valley and find out the sorts of qualities that are required to build Silicon Valley. Because I think in China these days, there are probably 4 Silicon Valleys, and in the US there's 1 Silicon Valley. And there's one in Beijing, Shenzhen, obviously Hangzhou, Guangdong. And China is alive with the spirit of Silicon Valley, and it's very similar in China to the United States, which is this potent mix of really first-rate universities like HKUST, super faculty inside of these universities, students brimming with ideas, and capital available to help them along, and all the other sorts of things that you need to build a company, and then an enormous market on the back doorstep.
Do you believe that there are certain cultural or regulatory differences between China and the West that might stand in the way of that?
In many ways, I think it's easier to do business in China than it might be in America, and that's probably not what most people here would think. But in most places throughout China, certainly what we've experienced is that the government in its various guises, both at the national and at the local or more provincial level, is very, very eager to help businesses get off the ground, create jobs, bring employment to a particular area or to a city, and help put them on the map. So it always surprises people at home when I say it's sometimes easier than doing the same thing in California or certainly in Europe.
So as China booms, there's a lot of worry here in Hong Kong that we're going to lose our competitive edge. What is your view on that?
Oh, China is the most wonderful business opportunity that ever sat in the lap of Hong Kong. Here it is, an hour away from where we're sitting. Students at HKUST can easily pop across the border to access the world's now greatest manufacturing and logistics and supply chain. They have the largest burgeoning, fast-growing market in the world on their back doorstep. It's bread from heaven.
How do you see the role of government in this kind of development for Hong Kong and in China?
What's worked in the West has been that the most important contribution to technology and the growth of technology that a government can make is to have a wonderful education system all the way through high schools and particularly the universities, and then for these governments to underwrite very long-term research within the universities, not at the companies. And it's from that stew that all these ideas have come, that have formed all the companies in America, and increasingly are doing so in China.
You yourself were at Oxford doing history. How do you think education has contributed to your success as an entrepreneur?
It gave me the platform from which everything else sprang. And it allowed me to develop conviction in particular areas of interest that perhaps when I began thinking about them, I didn't know very much about. And then it taught me how to form a sharp opinion about a topic where I only had imperfect information. And both of those things are very helpful in the world of investing. I wish if I had to live life over again, I would have chosen the course, if I'd been smart and bright enough, of science rather than history, but so be it.
And you've been very generous in giving to the university students of our generation. You've signed up to the Giving Pledge. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, first, because we were asked. Second, to help encourage others. And certainly while my wife and I are around and kicking, want to be sure that we give back. My family, a generation or so ago, was the very fortunate recipients of help from strangers. And now it's our turn to give back.
So back to the point about technology, what do you see as the next big thing in technology?
The one thing that I've learned to do in technology is not predict the next big thing, because the sort of company like Google or Facebook or probably, here in China, Tencent or Alibaba these days, or Xiaomi, will come from an area that you least expect. And it's all too easy to march down the buzzword compatible runways that everybody has about where the next big things are. It'll be the company that some young person or people have imagined that older fuddy-duddies like myself won't possibly have been able to contemplate, that will without doubt be the next big thing.
And finally, a word of advice maybe to our graduates who are leaving us today as they step onto the next step in the career. How should they go about approaching their career, their jobs?
For students stepping into the brave new world from HKUST today, their opportunity is no different, I think, from the ones of students who are graduating or graduated recently from Caltech or MIT or Berkeley or Harvard or Oxford. And it's to follow their interests and to believe in themselves and follow the breadcrumbs of life as they're strewn on the path ahead of them. And that way everything will be fine.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.